स्वाध्याय टीवी। डॉक्टर बाबा साहेब आंबेडकर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी।
Namaste. I am Dr. Hiren Joshi, welcomes you all to the Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Open University. In my today's session, I am going to deliver a lecture on HTML form. HTML form is one of the most useful utility of HTML. Whether you are knowingly or unknowingly, you are use HTML form when you want to register online on any program. Let us say for example, even if you want to open your email account, the email account opening, either it will be Gmail, Yahoo or Outlook, will be asking to fill up some information. This information you fill up by using HTML form. So, in this session I am going to discuss about HTML form as well as cascading style sheet. So, these are the objective of today's session. The first we understand how form works, then its syntax, and we create form, and then build form within tables and build and test a sample form, and then we discuss about cascading style sheet. So, forms is used to make web page interactive, because through form user will input the data, form will collect it and send it to the web server or server, and the data is then processed by application which resides on the web server. So, in short we can say forms allows user to input the data, or it will be work as a we can say interface, graphical user interface, through which data is passed to the server. So, as I say, this is one of the examples. Suppose you want to open your Yahoo mail account, that type of form will be asked by Yahoo, where you have to enter your first name and last name, your username, password. So, this is general form. Your first name and last name that you enter is known as a text box, that in which you can type. Then in password you type your password. So, it is again one type. Mobile number, it is again one text box, but your birth date you enter. So, this is one of the your drop down box, or you can say combo box, where you can select the value from the available value. For male or female, this is known as a radio button or option button, that you can select it. And then again this is button. So, this button will click on that button, the account will be created for you. So, form is actually using CGI, means common gateway interface, and as I say, it is a bridge between the internet and the server. So, CGI collect the data which is reside or get by HTTP protocol using program called scripts. So, right now we are using HTML, but HTML is only provide GUI. The actual programming will be done by server side scripting or client side scripting like JavaScript, and the data collect by CGI is then passed to the server, where server will process this data and give the result to the user. If we look at the architecture of CGI, so there will be web server has a data processing software and CGI, and there will be bidirectional communication between data processing software and CGI, and now CGI can communicate internet through HTTP. So, again it is bidirectional, internet can communicate to CGI in web server, and through internet user's computer is again communicated bidirectional way. So, user's computer has a internet and user will input some data through HTTP protocol, and when click on submit button or some button, so it will be come to the web server through CGI, and CGI pass this data to the data processing software. So, this is the same thing as I have explained, that how it will be works. So, now let us understand how to create form. So, form has a many elements or tags. the main thing is form, and form is always inside the body element or body tag. First you should write HTML, then body, and then you have to write form. Now, form has a many types of input available. So, input is another tag, and where various types of input available, whether it is a text box or radio button, check box, etc. Then you can use select to select a option from the available option to user, text area to enter some larger text or multi-line text box, and button also. So, form element is you can consider as a container for another controls like text box, radio button, check box, select, these all are come inside a form. So, form is a container which contain all this element. If this is the general syntax for form, you should write form, then you can write form elements, and to close the form /form. So, this is the general syntax for form. Form has a many attributes, but these 4 are main. The first one is action. In action attribute you should write name of script which is used for processing data passed by form. You can provide method. So, this is HTTP method which is used to submit data from the form. Generally the most common methods are get and post. By default it is get. Target is the specify that where the frame or the window will be work when you displayed it. It can take values like underscore blank, underscore self, underscore parent, etc. By default it is underscore self. So, where you want to open the submitted data. An encryption type is used to provide encryption when the data is passed to the form. The possible value can be any of this. Like this is example, and even can write form action is equal to scripting language name, like here it is welcome.php, and method is post. So, data will be passed as a inside the body message, the data will not be displayed on the URL of address. Let us create one form by using the input object. So, as I say, input object is defined many types of input objects, and type attribute specifies which type of input objects is available. We will discuss all these attributes. Let us start one by one. So, as we are using Notepad, I will start with Notepad. So, type Notepad and open my Notepad. To visible it clearly, let me increase the font size. So, you can easily visualize it. By default it is 22, it is okay. So, I will start with HTML, then I will write, okay, you are not clearly visible. So, let me start it from here. You can resize this Notepad. Right. Then as I said, it is always good practice to code starting and ending tag simultaneously inside body. Of course, you would like to write head section or head tag, you can write inside that, you can provide link relation as well as title, etc. Inside body, let us create a one simple form /form. Now, you can write, let us say I write first name, and you want to take input. So, you can write input type is equal to text. You can write name, name should be used when you do coding. So, name I write f name, then you can write, let us say for example last name, or let us say we just type it and check it. I just go to the file, save as, and inside my form I will save as this is form, I would say form1.html. You can give any meaningful name. Right now I give form1. So, I just save it, Now I will open it on my browser. So I go to the Mozilla Firefox and Alt F to file menu, open the file, and here the form is form 1. So you just look at, as I open it, it will display form name, and here I can type name. Let us say for example, I type my name or any other name. So this is form. Now this is text input. You can text input as other attributes also, like you can define size is equal to 10. So the size of that text box will be that character. If I reload it, so look at, the size will be decreased. You can also define maximum size or maximum length. Let us say max length is equal to 20. So maximum you can enter 20 character. Say for example, if I type here, so look at, after T I cannot type anything, because that will be the 20 character I have defined. So this is the first name. Here whatever you like you can write it. Then you can use, let us say for example, password. So this is another input type. You can type input type is equal to password. You should write name is equal to, let us say, pwd. You can here also define size and max length, but I use only here type is equal to this. So now if I run this and if I type something, so it will be not visible to the as a plain text, it will be displayed as a password characters. So this is another input type. Next type we can see is radio button. So the name comes radio from the analogy that whatever good radio you have, it may be 3-band radio, so you can listen to short medium wave or FM radio or whatsoever, but at a time you can listen only one station. So the same thing happen here in radio button. You can as many options available, but at a time you can choose only one option from the available radio button option. Let us say for example, if I type here gender and now I type input type is equal to radio, name is equal to gender. You can define value is equal to, let us say, male, and you should define input type is equal to again radio, name is same, value is equal to female. Now we just save and check it. Let us reload it. So look at here gender, I have to type here the title that I want to display here. So I type male and female, so I just save it. So look at, this is male and female. Now either I can choose any one, either male or female, and for that it is compulsory name should be same. If I write name is equal to different, then that will be not behave as a radio button, though it will be displayed as a radio button, but if you do not define name would be same. I just reload it, save and reload. So now look at, it will be not behave as a radio button. So it is compulsory the name for all the radio button option must be same. If I give the same name to both the radio button, now it will be behave as a radio button. Another name for radio button is option button. Generally you also know that when radio button is displayed, any one option is by default selected. You can also do that by providing attribute check. Say for example, if I write here checked, now I save this and I reload it. So it will be check. If I do not write checked, then none of option will be selected. Look at here, I just first delete it from this code and now I load it. Okay, I have to reload it, open it. Look at it will be not any selected, but as I write checked, so here the mail will be selected. This is generally required because in case user will not choose anything, sorry, I have to reload it so you can get it, but any one can be checked. I just show you again. I just delete it, save, and let me reload it. Is it in my history? So I need to open it again. So now it is not anyone is displayed, though even I reload it, but as I write to checked and save it and reload it, so it is by default check. So this is useful. Another good thing about that, to check any button, if I click on this female text, it will not display. So for that there is a label is also available. Let us say for example, you can write, it is also another type of input, label 4 is equal to male, and then you provide that input. Same way you can provide label 4 is equal to female. But if you write label, you have to provide ID for that your input type also. Let us say for example, if I provide label, but if I click here, it will be not selected. So I have to write here ID also. Name is also used as well as ID will be also used. So I write ID is equal to male as well as ID is equal to female. So this label is not only used for radio button, you can use for any input type. The only good thing is that, for example, when you click on that particular text, it should be work, like you do not need to come to that particular location, you can click it from here. I just write name is equal to female, this one is check, and this is label for female, value is equal to this. So now it should work it. I just save it and reload it. So look at, when I move cursor to that particular text, I do not need to directly go here. If you do not provide label, then you compulsory come to that radio button and click. Here I can click on that male because I have written label for this, and here I provide ID is equal to this. This ID and label for must be the same. Same way, if there are multiple options you want to choose, you can use checkbox. Checkbox allows to choose more than one option, including none also. Let us say for example, if you want to display hobbies, then you can write input type is equal to checkbox, name is equal to hobbies, and values is equal to whatsoever hobbies. Let us say I write reading, let us say I just copy paste. Here I should write same name. Of course, here it is not compulsory, you should write different name, but here I write the same name. So that may be hobbies of someone, so I just save it and reload it. So look at, this is hobby, again I have to write here the value I want to display beside my checkboxes. It is reading, playing cricket, and watching movies. So you can select it, save, and let's reload it and check it. So in radio button I can choose any of these three, none of them, or any two, whatever I like. this is radio checkbox. In radio button only one option is available to you, but in checkbox you can select any two, all three, any one or none of them. These are toggle buttons. So, once you click it will be selected, once you click it will be unselected. So, that will be very easy to you to check this. Another option available for input is drop down box, or you can say select box. In checkbox also you want to select, you can also here write checked. Say for example, if here I write check, then when you save and reload it, by default that should be check. I need to open it again because it will be stored in history. So, in history will be create the older version of my input form. So, look at here, if I write check, then reading will be display. So, let me add another BR tag, and let me say user would like to select any job preference location. So, I write location preference. This is example, here content can be any, I just give you idea about that input types you can use. So, you can write select and then you can provide option. Let us say your job preference may be Ahmedabad, another option may be Rajkot. Let us say I type few more. So, I just make copy paste. Let me write here Surat, Bhuj, or let me add few more, say let us say Pune, Bangalore, whatsoever. So, that will be allow user to choose any one from that. Let me reload it. So, look at this is known as a drop down box. Here you can choose any option, you just click it and you can move your cursor to that particular location. You cannot type anything. So, it is always good idea that if you want to give user only selection, then you should use this control frequently, because here the chances is very less that user type. If you allows user to type something, it may possible that user may do typing errors, but here you just provide selection. So, user has to select only. So, that is why it is always good option. Now, here you can also define size also. Say if I define size is equal to 3. So, it will be display only first 3 and provide scroll bar for that list box. Let me reload it. Look at here. So, it will shows only first 3 and I can choose only one of that. If you want to select multiple, you can write multiple also. If you write multiple keyword, then it allows to select multiple values from this list box. Now, it will be behave as a list box. To continuously select, you can use drag and drop or pressing control button. Say someone would like to select Ahmedabad and Surat. So, I just save it and reload that, save and reload. So, now anyone can select Ahmedabad, Surat or Bangalore. So, this multiple can select, or anyone would like to select my preference is Ahmedabad, Rajkot, Surat. So, it can select this value also. So, this is list box. The next control is button, that in your form you want to submit that value. So, for that there is a submit button. So, I just again write about that. So, here you should write input type is equal to submit, type must be submit, name you can give on anything. Let us say I define type is equal to submit and value is equal to submit. I just save it and let's check it. So it will display submit button. I would like to display after that line, so I will write first, oh it is here, I have to first close the select and then BR and then input type. So now it will be display as it is, as I wish, that after that list box it will be submit button. Now when I click at, you can look at the URL, this is URL, here it will be display f name is equal to, suppose if I write something and submit. So look at here, it will display in your URL what are the value you type, f name is equal to this, password is equal to what. So the key value pair, f name is a key because I define here name is equal to f name in my input box, and its value is whatever I type in this text box, my password, gender I have select, hobbies I have selected, and this key value pair are separated by ampersand. The reason is that here by default method is get, method is not post, that you can define here in your form. If you write form method is equal to post and then again we type something, I just save it, let me type here again, let us say first name is, again same name I type and I submit. Oh, I have to reload it, or it is in memory, so let me reopen it to remove from history. Here my form is, I have saved it and method I define as a post. So name is this, password is anything, and my hobbies are, I select all the three, select Ahmedabad and submit. So look at here in this URL it will not display anything because here I method define is post. So this is the difference between get and post as well. Now if you want to clear all the value, you can use reset button as well, because reset button will reset all the values. So you can type input type is equal to reset, whatever name you would like to define, here it is again reset, and value is also reset. Value will be display how you want to display the title of your button, it can be anything, but generally reset is written. So I again reload that page. So look at here reset, if I reset it, so it should be resetted. Right now I make this checkbox and radio button check, if I uncheck it from this text box or radio button, by default it will be resetted. And here I show method as a post, that is why it will not display anything. If I select something and submit and reset, so this is reset button. Apart from that, you can also choose any special type of button. So for that you can write input type is equal to button and name whatever you would like to write, let us say button calculate, and value you want to display is, let us say calculate. So it will create a customized button and the button title should be calculate. And for this you can write coding also using JavaScript or other scripting languages, but this is customized button. You can create image button also. So you can write image type is equal to button, name is equal to whatsoever your name, let us say I give image button, and h reference is equal to, you have to provide path. So in this folder I have an image called desert.jpg. So I will write here desert.jpg. Now if we see it, this file is very large, so button might be very large, then I come to its reduce its size. So I just open it, let me save it first, or in case require I will reload it. Okay, I go to the Alt F open and form 1. Okay, so I have to type here not image, but I should which tag I have to use, that should be image tag, and I define type is button, name is this, h reference is this. So it should be work. Let me recheck it. I think I need to close browsers once and check it, or let me show you the code how you can display it. Say this will open the same file I can open with notepad. So here you can create one image with name is this, value is this, source is this, and width and height you can also specify. So let me open this form demo. So I will write open file and form demo. So look at here, it will open this image and it is again image button. Now this is text area, so you can define text area also that you want to write somewhere. Let's say for example inside form you want to say describe yourself. Let me put br tag also. And you want to display multi-line text allow. So you can write, this is another tag, the tag name is text area. You can define rows and columns for that. Let's say it should be 5 rows and it should be 40 columns its dimension. You can define name as well. Though it is not compulsory, I strongly recommended to write it because this attribute will be helpful when you do coding for your server side scripting language. ID you should also write, but at least name or ID anyone you must write. So I go to the file, save, and now if I reload my file form 1 in which I have typed it. So look at it will display describe yourself. Okay, I have to close text area. Before form I have to close text area. So you can check it by reload it, and you want to write something there, you can write about it. So generally the button are at the last, but to explain you I just first explain button and then I display this button. Else in real life scenario the button are always at the last, because user has to input something and finally user will submit that value. So it will be display this. Now any remain tag is about, one is file and hidden. So hidden tag is useful that you want to movement some text or some value from one page to another HTML page. So hidden tag will not display that value in your browser, but it allows you to move from one page to another page. For that you just write input type is equal to hidden, name is equal to any name, let's say hidden value, and you can define its any value. So that will be not display when page can be moved from, suppose you write in here action form, then method you write action also, and you want to pass that value. Here right now I not create any file, but if I have any file I can write action and its value. So at that time the value of this hidden field will allows you to move from one page to another page. If you look at it, will not display it here because it is hidden field. The last one is file attributes. So you know that suppose you want to upload some file. So for that it will provide GUI to you, only graphical user interface. The code for uploading file you have to write. For that you can write let's say select a file to upload. So you can write input type is equal to file, name is equal to whatever name you like, right. We just save it to give you demo how it will show. So, it will display select a file to upload. Here you can also provide one text box also. So, you should write brn input type is equal to text, name is equal to file name. Here you can also define size etc. attributes, but these are the by default attributes. You should write file. So, it will show only GUI. The actual code you have to write. When you click on this browse button, it will display all the file from anyone you can select and you can display it, but here it will not display here, because for that you have to use server side programming you need to require. So, this is all about this various input type and its attribute. I have taken text, password, radio button, checkbox, submit, reset, hidden, image and file. And this is size attributes is used with text box, max length you can use with text box as well as password. Checked is used with radio button and checkbox, multiple is used with select to select multiple option from that drop down box. Now, sometime you may require to grouping an option. So, this is I give just one example, you can write select and there is a one special tag name called op group label, and inside that label you can make grouping it. Let us say for example, for cold drinks I write Sprite and Maaza, and for hot beverages tea and coffee. So, it will be look like when you click on this drop down button, it will be display like this. Sometime you may require to create groupings. So, for that you can use field set and legend elements, like in form first you define field set and the legend is personal details. Inside this legend you can get its full name, email and mobile number. So, it will be look like this way. So, this is form. Now, the form we have created you can look at also. So, the look and feel is not good, because it will be not align or anything else. So, it is always good idea that you should use forms within the table, because your that heading will be considered as a one column and this text box and radio button it will be come into another column. Let us say give you a simple idea. Say for example, if for this radio button or for this one anyone you can choose, let us say I create table for only this one, because if I write then it will be talk very long time. So, I say tr in td. So, the first td I write location preference and slash td. This is another table depth, and after that select I write slash td and close my table. So, you can see the look is bit different for this location preference. Look at. So, now it is in table, even the alignment is changed, and this is first column, this is another column of your table. So, this is always good idea that you should write within table. I just give here idea, this is without the table it will be may look like that, but if you use inside a table for each. So, you can define this way. I do not define border, if you can define border as well as all other elements which is available in table. So, this is all about forms. I think you are clear about this one. Same way there is a one more thing with web application development is cascading style sheet or style sheet. Why we require style sheet? So, the reason is that HTML is invented for actually transfer the data or text element between researchers. It is not invented for formatting anything. It is a version by version improvement and we do little bit formatting in it, but it is again not good idea. Let me give you just one example. Suppose you created a web page which having 50 pages. Now, you want to make similarity or uniformity in your website, that all the heading of all page should be displayed in red color and central alignment. Now, you want to change it, then you need to change in all the pages, and it may possible that you may miss somewhere. So, the uniformity will not maintain, as well as it will be very error prone, because error might occur. But if you use style sheet, so you create one external style sheet, you define attributes and its value there, and you just need to link that. So, just within that one link, all your pages will be behave the same way. So, that will be very handy and helpful, that to change something formatting, you just need to use that style sheet. So, CSS is a actually acronym for cascading style sheet. There are mainly 3 types of style sheet: external, internal, and third one is inline or embedded. External style sheet are you can create externally. I will show you the syntax. To create any style sheet, you have to first write selector, curly braces, then its property, colon, value, and then you should write semicolon to make sure that this is the ending of that property. Then another property, colon, its value, and semicolon. You can define as many property in that particular selector. For example, if you want to define selector for P element, means paragraph of HTML, you can define its color should be red and text align is center. Let me show you a simple code for this one, or you can write it. Let me check it. I will open it inside my CSS. So, in CSS, here I create external HTML. I will show you the code first. So, in this HTML, inside head you can use link and write relation is equal to style sheet, its type is text or CSS, and h reference is the style sheet you have created. Here my style sheet name I define as a styles.css, the extension is .css. In styles.css, I have just written a one line, body which is my element, then I can write back curly braces, property, I write background color, colon, its value is red, and semicolon, and thus one I complete my curly braces. So, now if I run this file, here my file name is external HTML. So, I just open it inside CSS external HTML. So, look at the background color is red and whatever content I have written. The benefit of this one is that suppose if I create another file in HTML, slash head, it is always written inside the head attributes. Then you can write link relation is equal to style sheet, type is equal to text or CSS, and h reference is equal to S capital. So, I write styles dot CSS and I write this is file 2. I have to write body, and inside body I write this content. Now, I save this file as a inside my CSS folder, let us say file2.html. So, save it. Now, if again I open it here, file 2. So, look at this is again red background, this is same thing. The benefit, as I say, now if I need to make this background green, so I do not need to write it here, I just need to change into my style sheet. So, my style sheet name is styles.css. So, I just open it and say if I write background color is let us say green. Now, if I reload it, so look at here, because they both file are using external style sheet. I need to change only one. Here I take only 2 file, but if you consider the whole website where many number of pages available to you. So, that will be very helpful to you. So, this is external style sheet. You can use internal style sheet also. Internal means you write the same thing, but inside the head. So, I just open with notepad. So, you can see inside head you can write style, type is equal to text or CSS, body, background color. If you want to define more than one, you can define this one also, like here I define for 2 element, body as well as H1, and then you can write something, this is body. So, now in body you should write whatever you like here in H1 I define color is blue and body background color is yellow. So, if I run this file, this is internal style sheet. So, look at the background is yellow and the H1 I define in this internal CSS is blue color. So, when I define H1 tag, this one displays a blue color. So, this is internal style sheet, and third type is embedded. That means, within that tag you can write about its style. Say for example, in body you write style, background color is green, font size is 24, and if I run it, so that will be embedded. Another name is internal style, inline style sheet. Embedded means inline means you can find the source of any HTML page by pressing Ctrl U shortcut key in Mozilla Firefox. So, you get how it will be display. So, this is 3 types of style sheet. You can use whatever you like. Let me give some more idea about CSS. Now, here you can define many selectors. It can be element, you can also create class, you can also create ID for identification, and you can make grouping of CSS. This is element, we take example P or H1. So, if you define P, text align is center and color is red. To give you brief idea, let me just open one file. So, I write Alt F, open file, and here I write element selector. So, if I open, so in this I have written that align is center and color is red. So, my this text whatever I written, every paragraph will be affected by style is red. Next thing is class. You can define class also within the CSS. Class will be allow you to make formatting for particular class. Here to define class you have to write dot and that class name. So, here my class name is center because I prefix with dot, and the text align for that class is center and the color is red. So, if I open one file using that class inside my browser, so this is class selector example. So, you can say red and center align heading, and if you look at source, so here I define center, but if I write H1 class is equal to center, so it is red and center align heading, P class is center, so it is red and center align, but H1 and P without class, here I define color is blue, that is why it is blue color. If I make this color is green, this is source file, I have to change my original HTML file, then it will be displayed as a green, but here I define color is blue. So, when I define class is equal to this class name, it will be formatted as per the instruction I have defined in it. Another benefit with this class is you can define class with particular specific selector also. Say for example, here I define P dot center. So, this center class is with paragraph only. So, if you write H1 class is center, so this will be not affected, but if you write P class is equal to center, so only that will be affected. Let us open that file in Mozilla Firefox. class specific selector, I give this file name as a. So, look at here this code as p dot center. So, whenever there is a paragraph, so paragraph is red color and center align, though I define class is equal to center, but here in style I define p dot center. So, it is affected only with this one. Then you can also use ID, but the whole page has only one ID, and to define ID you have to prefix with hash symbol or pound symbol and give one unique name. Here it is para, text align is center and color is red. So, if I open one such file, let us say here the file name is class ID selector. So, if I open with HTML or Firefox, so it will be display as it is, because I define one class and class name is para, text align is center, color is red. So, when I write p ID is equal to the ID I define here, then hello world will be displayed with red color and center align, but paragraph will be written as it is. So, this is you can define with ID. And the next one is grouping. That means, instead of writing H1 text align center, color is red, then same way I define for H2 color is red and center align, and for paragraph text align center, color is red. I can use all these three by comma separated. So, it will be applied to H1 tag, H2 tag and P tag as well. To show you example, let me open that file. Grouping tag. So, this is grouping selector. So, you can see the source code here for H1, H2 and P. So, whether I apply H1 tag or H2 or P, it will be all has a text align is center and color is red. Now, the last point is that we say cascading style sheet. Cascading means what happens if you have multiple style sheet within the same page. You create one external style sheet and call it in the head section. You create one internal style sheet within your HTML page, and you write for that particular embedded tag also style is equal to that. Then what's happen? So, this facility provided by style sheet, let us understand by example. Let us say I select this file multiple style sheet. Look at here. So, first you create head, then link relation is style sheet, type is this, and h reference you write my style dot CSS. So, in this CSS file I have just written body background color is light blue, and whenever H1 tag is used, each color is navy and margin left is 20 pixels. So, if you look at the code, so this is external style sheet, then internally style will be also defined, and for H1 color is orange, for external it is navy color, for internal it is orange, and for the embedded it is yellow. So, when I run it, what color it should display? It will display the embedded color, means yellow color, because it will be override by this one, because we have written here color is yellow. If I remove this embedded tag or embedded style sheet tag, if I remove, then now it should display orange, because external is override by internal. So, if I reload that my page, so now it is orange. So, this is the benefit of style sheet, that sometime you want to create your web pages, and here you want to separate by section wise. Let us say account section has some different look, administration section has some different look, academic section has some different look. So, at that time, though you create one external style sheet, but you can change its look by providing this internal or embedded style sheet. Nowadays, style sheet is very essential, because HTML is not used much for formatting. Of course, HTML5 is latest version. Using HTML5 and CSS3, mobile application can be developed by using only these three things, but this is I give basic idea about cascading style sheet and HTML forms. So, I just give you summary that we have considered form and its various attributes like text box, radio button, check box, select, submit and reset button, another button as well, and we describe about cascading style sheet also. These are all our reference I use for making this program PPT as well. Even you can read this book and website to learn HTML form or CSS. Finally, I would say thank you to all of you. Thank you.
स्वाध्याय टीवी